Have you ever felt something shifting in your child, but couldn't put your finger on it? That subtle withdrawal, the quiet refusal to share, the fake, "I'm fine" smile, it's more than moodiness. That's the moment your child stops trusting you, often without you even noticing. And once trust cracks, rebuilding it can feel impossible. Today we're diving into the hidden signs, the mistakes parents unknowingly make, and what you can do to restore that precious bond before it's too late. Many parents don't realize that the smallest dismissals of their child's feelings can slowly chip away at trust. When a child comes to you with excitement, fear, sadness, or frustration, they are reaching out for connection, guidance, and understanding. Saying things like, "It's nothing to worry about," "Stop crying, it's not a big deal," or even, "You're overreacting," might seem harmless, but to a child, these words can feel like a refusal to acknowledge their inner world. Over time, these seemingly small moments accumulate, and the child starts to believe that their emotions are unimportant or even wrong. This can lead to them holding back from sharing anything at all, because they have learned that their feelings are not worthy of attention or empathy. Children rely on adults to teach them not just how to navigate the world, but also how to interpret and validate their own emotions. When their feelings are consistently minimized, they may begin to doubt themselves and their perception of reality. A child who shares a fear or sadness and is met with indifference might start internalizing the message that vulnerability is unsafe. This is particularly true for sensitive children who process emotions deeply and need consistent reassurance that their experiences matter. When parents fail to acknowledge emotions, the child learns to suppress them, and this suppression builds a silent barrier between parent and child. It's not just negative emotions that matter. Dismissing positive emotions, like excitement or joy, can also erode trust. If a child comes running to show a drawing or talk about an achievement and receives a lukewarm response, they may feel that sharing their happiness is pointless. Children begin to associate their feelings with judgment or indifference, leading them to retreat into themselves. Over time, this can result in a pattern where the child avoids opening up altogether, reserving their thoughts and feelings for peers, social media, or even imaginary outlets, rather than their own parents. Another subtle way trust is broken is through tone and body language. Even if parents say they understand, a distracted glance at a phone, a sigh, or a hurried, "I'm busy," sends a message that the child's emotions are secondary. Children are incredibly perceptive and can sense when interest or empathy is lacking. When they repeatedly experience this, they may stop initiating conversations, feeling that reaching out is futile. Trust isn't just about listening. It's about showing through words, actions, and attention that their emotions are valid and worthy of respect. Rebuilding this trust is possible, but requires consistent effort. Parents need to intentionally slow down, give full attention, and validate their child's emotional experiences, even if the problem seems small or trivial. A simple acknowledgement like, "I can see why that would upset you," or "That sounds really exciting. Tell me more," can reinforce that the child's emotions are real and valued. By recognizing feelings, listening attentively, and responding with empathy rather than dismissal, parents can begin to repair the subtle cracks that form when emotions are ignored. This foundation of emotional validation is critical because it teaches children that their inner world is safe to share and that trust is not just a concept. It's a lived experience between parent and child. When a child shares something important with you, whether it's a mistake they made, a fear they're experiencing, or a secret they've been holding on to, The way you respond can shape their willingness to open up in the future. Overreacting or responding with harsh criticism can feel like a punishment for simply being honest, and children quickly learn to protect themselves by shutting down emotionally. For example, if a child admits to breaking a vase and is met with yelling, anger, or extreme disappointment, the immediate message they receive is that honesty comes with consequences far worse than the act itself. This creates a fear-based dynamic where they may still need guidance, but are too afraid to share, leading to secret keeping and emotional distance. Calm, measured responses are essential in fostering trust. When parents approach situations with patience, even when a child has done something wrong or hurtful, the child learns that their parent can be a safe space rather than a source of judgment or punishment. Listening fully, without interrupting or immediately correcting, allows the child to feel heard and understood. Overreacting, even with good intentions, often communicates that the child's feelings or mistakes are too big to handle, which can intimidate them into silence. Trust is built in the moments of measured responses, where children feel that even when they stumble, their relationship with their parent remains intact. It's important to recognize that overreacting is not always overt. Sometimes it's a sharp tone, a sigh, or even a disappointed look that communicates disapproval more powerfully than words. Children are highly attuned to these subtle cues and will internalize them quickly. They may start second-guessing themselves, wondering whether their emotions, questions, or mistakes are worth bringing up at all. The cumulative effect of these small reactions can lead to a child emotionally withdrawing, not out of defiance, but out of self-preservation. They may begin filtering what they share, hiding their vulnerabilities, and retreating into their own world where they feel safer. Another consequence of overreacting is that it inadvertently teaches children to fear their emotions rather than understand them. If expressing frustration, sadness, or even excitement leads to parental alarm or anger, children may begin to see emotions as dangerous or shameful. This not only hampers trust, but also impacts emotional development, leaving children ill-equipped to manage their feelings effectively. They may develop anxiety, low self-esteem, or difficulty forming healthy relationships because they have learned that openness carries risk. Building a safe space doesn't mean avoiding discipline or boundaries. Children still need guidance, correction, and structure, but the key is in the delivery. Responding calmly, acknowledging feelings, and explaining consequences without anger models healthy communication and problem solving. Phrases like, "I understand this upset you," or "Let's figure out how to fix this together," maintain authority while fostering security. By choosing patience over overreaction, parents teach children that honesty is valued, and that mistakes are opportunities for learning, not judgment. Over time, this approach strengthens trust and encourages a child to continue sharing, confident that they will be met with understanding rather than fear. Consistency is one of the most powerful factors in building trust between a parent and a child, yet it is often overlooked. Children are acutely aware of patterns in behavior, promises made, and expectations set by adults. When parents repeatedly break promises, whether it's failing to follow through on small commitments like reading a bedtime story or larger assurances like attending an important school event, the child begins to internalize a painful lesson that what they are told or promised cannot be relied upon. This is not just disappointing, it strikes at the core of their sense of security. Children naturally look to their parents as anchors in an unpredictable world, and when those anchors shift or vanish, even subtly, it chips away at the trust they once took for granted. The damage is often cumulative. A single broken promise might be forgiven easily, but repeated instances teach children to stop expecting reliability. They may stop asking for help, sharing their needs, or expressing their hopes and fears because they have learned that parental words are not dependable. This creates a silent emotional distance. Even when a parent has the best intentions, inconsistency communicates a lack of value for the child's feelings or priorities. Over time, the child may stop confiding in the parent entirely, turning instead to friends, siblings, or even the digital world for guidance and validation, simply because those sources appear more dependable. It's important to recognize that consistency is more than just keeping promises. It's also about predictable behavior and emotional responses. Children thrive in environments where they can anticipate reactions, understand boundaries, and trust that their parents' responses will not swing wildly from day to day. When rules, expectations, or emotional responses shift unpredictably, the child experiences uncertainty, anxiety, and a subtle erosion of confidence in their parent. For example, if a parent sometimes responds to questions with patience and understanding, but at other times responds with anger or withdrawal for the same behavior, the child cannot trust when it is safe to approach them. This inconsistent pattern teaches the child to be cautious, guarded, and emotionally distant, even if there is no explicit punishment involved. Rebuilding trust after inconsistency requires intentionality. Parents must prioritize reliability in both words and actions, even in small, everyday commitments. Following through on promises, being present when needed, and maintaining predictable responses communicates that the child's needs and expectations are respected. Additionally, acknowledging past inconsistencies honestly can be powerful. Saying something like, "I realize I haven't always followed through, and I'm going to do better because your trust is important to me," shows the child that their feelings matter and that the parent is aware of the impact of their actions. By consistently showing up, honoring commitments, and behaving predictably, parents create a secure emotional environment where children feel safe sharing their thoughts, feelings, and fears. This steady presence is the foundation upon which trust is built. Children begin to internalize that they can rely on their parent, not just for discipline or guidance, but for emotional support and understanding. When reliability becomes a pattern, it strengthens the bond, encourages openness, and fosters a sense of security that allows the child to grow confident in both themselves and their relationship with their parent. Comparing a child to others is one of the most damaging behaviors a parent can unintentionally engage in. Whether it's a sibling, a friend, or a classmate, drawing comparisons. "Why can't you be more like your brother?" Or, "See how easily she does that," sends a subtle but powerful message that the child is not good enough as they are. Children are extremely sensitive to approval and validation from their parents, and when they perceive judgment through comparison, it can erode their self-esteem and sense of worth. Over time, these comments can make a child feel constantly measured against others, creating pressure, insecurity, and ultimately, emotional withdrawal. When children feel judged or inadequate, they begin to filter what they share with their parents. They may stop talking about achievements, dreams, or even failures for fear of criticism or comparison. Instead of opening up, they retreat inward, protecting themselves from potential disappointment or judgment. This is especially true for sensitive children, who internalize these comparisons deeply, often believing that love or approval is conditional upon their performance. The parent's intention may be to motivate or inspire, but to the child, it communicates rejection, inadequacy, and a lack of acceptance for who they truly are. Comparisons can also create a subtle but persistent sense of competition within the family. Siblings, for example, may feel pitted against each other for parental approval, leading to resentment, jealousy, and reduced openness. The child who is constantly compared may develop anxiety about being themselves, fearing that their natural abilities, interests, or personality traits will never meet parental expectations. This emotional tension can prevent authentic communication, because the child is no longer sure that sharing their true self will be met with love or understanding. It's important to understand that children crave validation, not perfection. Encouraging effort, celebrating uniqueness, and acknowledging progress fosters self-confidence and strengthens trust. Instead of comparisons, parents can use affirming language that focuses on individual growth. "I'm proud of how hard you worked on this," or "You handled that situation really well," and "I love how you did it your way." Such responses teach children that they are valued for who they are, not who they are being measured against. This not only boosts confidence, but also signals that their thoughts, feelings, and experiences are safe to share without fear of judgment. Overcoming the habit of comparison requires conscious effort. Parents need to shift focus from others to their child's personal achievements and intrinsic qualities. By doing so, they create a nurturing environment where the child feels accepted, understood, and appreciated. When a child feels genuinely valued, they are more likely to open up, share fears and joys, and rely on their parent for emotional support. Trust grows when children experience unconditional acceptance, free from the pressure of being someone else, and they learn that their parents are allies in their journey, not critics measuring them against others. Creating a safe space for open and honest conversation is essential for building and maintaining a child's trust. Yet it is often overlooked in the business of daily life. Children need to know that they can speak freely about their thoughts, feelings, fears, and mistakes without fear of judgment, punishment, or ridicule. When this sense of safety is absent, they quickly learn to censor themselves, hiding parts of their inner world in order to avoid conflict or disappointment. A parent who fails to create this environment, whether through harsh reactions, dismissive behavior, or constant distractions, risks losing the connection that allows their child to confide in them. Safety is not just physical, but deeply emotional. A child may feel physically protected at home, but if they sense that their emotions will be met with criticism, disbelief, or neglect, they will instinctively guard themselves. Even subtle cues, rolling eyes, sighs, interrupted speech, or diverted attention, send a message that their voice is not important. Over time, children may stop bringing up serious issues like bullying, mental health struggles, or peer pressure because they have learned that the adult they rely on might react with impatience, anger, or indifference. The absence of a truly safe emotional space can lead to isolation, anxiety, and even depression, as the child navigates life, believing they must face challenges alone. A critical component of safety is active listening. When a child speaks, parents must stop what they are doing, make eye contact, and show through words and body language that they are fully present. This does not mean always agreeing, but it does mean acknowledging their feelings and validating their experiences. Simple phrases like, "I hear you," "It sounds like that was really hard," or "Thank you for telling me," go a long way in reinforcing that the child's voice matters. When children feel truly heard, they develop the confidence to be vulnerable, share their inner world, and trust that their parent will respond with empathy rather than judgment. Another important aspect is emotional consistency. Children need to know that no matter the time, day, or situation, their parent's response will be measured, calm, and supportive. Creating predictable patterns of emotional safety encourages children to bring up not only daily experiences, but also deeper concerns that require guidance or reassurance. This sense of predictability reduces fear and anxiety, fostering a strong foundation of trust that allows children to rely on their parents as anchors in their ever-changing world. Building this safe space requires ongoing commitment. It means setting aside distractions, checking personal stress levels, and sometimes consciously putting aside judgments or assumptions. Over time, the child learns that home is a place where they can be fully themselves, share freely, and receive support. This trust becomes a lifeline, strengthening their resilience, emotional intelligence, and relationship with their parents. When a child knows they are safe to speak, to make mistakes, and to be vulnerable, the bond between parent and child deepens in ways that last a lifetime, ensuring that trust is not just given, but earned and nurtured daily.